Drug money and fancy cars is what got two men arrested and thrown behind bars today. Good afternoon, I'm Deborah Knapp.
And I'm Jeff Brady. Authorities say the pair are part of a money laundering operation that stretches from Mexico to Stone Oak. Eyewitness News reporter Marvin Hurst joins us live with more on what investigators say they were doing. Marvin?
Hey Jeff, yeah, MGM Auto back there basically repairs and sells used luxury vehicles. According to federal agents, for a 15% fee, they also transport drugs, they convert drug money into legitimate checks, and for paying customers, they also offer the service of bringing that money, helping people skirt federal fees, I should say. This whole investigation started around the summer of 2017. This morning is when everything broke loose. Investigators started to execute search warrants. The IRS, the DEA, and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, all of them were here raiding the place. With those search warrants, they hit three different places: MGM Autos, Odito Autos at Dublin Square, and the two homes in the Champion Rum subdivision in Stone Oak. Suspect Jose Luis Magallon is accused of laundering $204,000 as he unknowingly did business with undercover agents. Agent says that he used MGM Auto as a front for the criminal activity. This morning, investigators raided his property and three other places, seizing vehicles some of us can only dream about. The criminal complaint against him was filed against the IRS. Now, there is another suspect who has not officially been named in this case. He's accused of laundering $575,000. That man makes his initial appearance in court tomorrow. Of course, the early morning raids caught neighboring businesses by surprise. So when we talked to that neighboring business, they basically told us, the person there said, you know, they had their suspicions because of the cards and all of that kind of deal, that something was going on, and what happened this morning just basically confirmed what they thought. As a matter of fact, I talked to the owner of the Korean barbecue here. He was basically saying that they have not been good neighbors to them. As for Magallon, he was in court this morning. He will be back in court on February 5th. That's when he will try to get his bond set in this case, because so far there isn't one, and he will continue to try to get this case resolved. Reporting live, Marvin Hurst, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.